Hello, everybody. Welcome to a mini indie showcase bonus content interview. Today, we are with Bastien Bernand, developer behind Sclash.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for coming along. And of course, I'm Mike. Kyle's here, but we're not the important ones here.
Nope. You've got enough of us during the showcase.
Yeah, you got enough. Bastien, granted, we are filming this a couple weeks before the showcase, but hey, how's it feel showing your game to people?
Actually, it feels great. It's really cool to have opportunities like this, and I'm always glad to see people's feedback, to see what they say about the game. Always a great event. Like I like the showcase, like especially when there are interviews. It's really fun. Yeah. Thanks for making this.
Of course, absolutely.
Thanks for making the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about the game, I want to start off with a little bit about like your journey as a game dev and Bevel Bakery. How'd that all start?
Yeah, sure. It all started, me and my two teammates, Victor and Eloise, we were in game design studies in our city, in Lyon, in France. So Sclash was basically our second year project. So we this was a time where we could propose projects like we wanted. And I was like, yeah, I'm tired of making just demos and prototypes. I'm going to choose a small concept, but I'm going to make it from A to Z, and I'm not going to sell it. That was the idea and intention. And also we were like, yeah, and we were playing a lot of fighting games with friends at the time. We were like, how would it be like if there was a fighting game where like you could just attack and you would die in one hit? And like kind of a bit like how it's called the game where Dropkick, maybe you heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we wanted to do something different, something more about souls and maybe with some parent stuff. And so, yeah, the project continued in third year and it scaled up a little. And also we didn't realize how much work it was to actually finish the game. Like, it's crazy. And we're bad, so it takes more time. We continued it after our studies. So we didn't actually make a studio because that's really annoying thing to make. It's also an administrative nightmare. You have to have a vision for the next year. We just wanted to, who makes Sclash, we release it, we do something else with our lives. Yeah. And so we still have chose a name in the end because we needed it for with our partners, our publishing partners that we ended up having that helped us really speed up things, marketing and development stuff. And so, yeah, we're here. It's almost 4 years later. Hopefully it's going to come out this time because I'm tired of it. I like the game, but really it's just like...
I can't imagine.
It's not moving fast because our code architecture is a nightmare, and so it's really annoying to make any change there. And so, yeah. That's where we are. Nice. I'm personally more focused on art, game design, and development. Since we have three, we kind of had, be one-man armies, each one. So we learned a lot on the way. I'm really glad I acquired all the skills I have, even though I don't trust my skills in a professional environment. But we got here, and so I'm glad so far.
I mean, you're close to 4 years in the making. How does it feel being near the finish line?
Relieved, really. Especially in this type of project, because I can't really say what it's be like the experience of being an employee in a bigger studio working on just your tasks, what you're doing. But when you've spent 4 years doing everything on the project, from marketing to development to the little icons for the controllers to making sure all the characters in the font work well, to like it's... I want the game to release. I like the game, but I like it. But it's been a lot of work, unpaid work. So I really, even if it doesn't make money, I just want to do something else in my life now.
Everybody buy this game.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I will still make games, but just something else.
4 years on anything is a lot of time. So like we get that feeling.
That was a mistake for people listening. Make smaller project, please. Don't do that. No, actually, you know what? That was intention. It was supposed to be a small project, but we knew that fighting games were a lot.
What made a samurai fighting game so appealing? Like, why samurais?
That's just a good question, actually, because we didn't think of samurais first. the idea was this one-hit KO fighting game stuff, but it wasn't samurai, I think. But very quickly we realized that it was fitting well. Like, we weren't sure what theme to go with. We were confident in building a whole new theme or artistic direction at the time. We were like, let's go with samurais. People like samurais anyway, and it really fit this solemn, poetic, slow-paced fight where you kill in one shot. Like, it all were fitting very well, so we just chose it in the end. It really worked for.
And it kind of paid off in the end because, like, since, going back, like, thinking about the past almost 4 years, like, Sekiro is a massive game that people love. Obviously, it's like Ghost of Tsushima.
Playing it currently is really cool. Ghost of Tsushima, amazing too.
So I think, you made the correct decision.
Yeah.
I believe too, in the end.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So take us back those 4 years. What were some of the key inspirations behind Sclash? I mean, you were talking about a lot of, like, the fighting game inspirations, but I would just love to hear a little bit more about that.
In terms of inspirations for the mechanic and the intentions of the game design, we really aiming at the coach party / fighting game side of the spectrum. So we're talking Smash Bros, Samurai Gun, Nidhogg, Two Strikes, who's kind of a concurrent actually. Really games like that we were playing at the time. Between two classes, we just connected the controllers and played some stuff. And so we wanted to do something inspired by this, but we are on twist. We have notably the stamina mechanic that we didn't see anywhere else. And so that's where it came from. As far as the theme and more globally art direction, animation and stuff go, then we looked at definitely there are some scenes that you're going to see that's Sekiro, for example. Samurai Champloo, also a big inspiration as far as the color scheme, the anime feel of the game goes. Okami, Eloise is a big fan of anime actually, so she's put a lot of it in the game, and I'm all for it. And so a few samurai movies that we saw also for the aesthetic, but since we're kind of not very realistic looking. I mean, it's not cartoonish, but it's very different still. But they were inspiration, of course. And that's it. And since we had to make the characters, have just each their own fighting style with very marked different stances and their position, and their own animation fighting style, but they only one hit. It's not like they could chain hit and stuff like samurai would do stuff. We also had to distantiate a little ourselves from actual samurai fights in terms of how the movements were done, because of course what our characters are doing is absolutely not what the samurai would tell how they move, but we decided to try to take it for inspiration.
Yeah, sweet. You mentioned Okami from like the look of the game. What made the decision to go hand drawn, and how tough is it doing a hand drawn kind of thing for a game?
It's an interesting question. It's kind of like the samurai theme. Actually, the hand drawn look wasn't decided. It just
happened.
Just happened. At one point, we were like, "Hey, this looks a little like we should embrace this style," and that's actually a style that I like, because both that's how I paint usually when I do 2D art. I really like. I have been inspirations of artists like Vlop or Nixu and so. I don't know if it's gonna be familiar to you, but these are artists that a lot of their details are just rushed over and stuff, but in the right way so that it looks good. And so that's how I paint, and it's transpired in the game, even if I didn't try to make a hand-drawn look, even though after that I impressed it. And also making hand-drawn is kind of easier choice, you see, because you don't have to. It's I don't want it to sound like it's kind of when people say pixel art is easy, so I'm gonna make pixel art. It's not that. It's just that it's faster. You don't have to finish the assets. Sometimes assets are finished, and I will do dirty brush strokes over them to make them look okay. But kind of. It's all a blurry mess of brush strokes that we try to control. It needs to be balanced and look good, but it's a very interesting thing because all the assets need to blur into each other, but also have some contrast. But it really helps with playing however we want, with the colorimetry, with the blending of animations that look rough, but it's okay because it's the style. and also people will be more accepting of a lower frame rate for the animation of the character with such a style. But overall, it's a really nice aesthetic that I actually really enjoy working with, and I think my teammates did as well. And it's not too challenging as far as I felt it in my experience. But I'm an artist, so maybe I don't realize.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm interested. So hearing that, like you talk about like the lower frame rate and how it's like a little more forgivable, and even like the brushstrokiness and how that leans into the aesthetic. And I like that you kind of utilize the, for lack of a better term, like roughness, even though the game I think looks gorgeous, to really play into the art style. But how tricky is it to find that balance of like that aesthetic that doesn't need to be frame perfect with a fighting game? Because like fighting games are usually like so precise. Like I'm just curious, like if there were any challenges behind that.
Yeah, sure. Well, that ties into another question regarding the game. Actually, is that Sclash is not a competitive fighting game.
Sure.
That was not our intention. I mean, we wouldn't mind if it was, but in our intention to make it some form of more entry game into the fighting game genre, while keeping it's classic. It's not a Smash Bros. Somewhere you're gonna see like two fighters, etc. But we made it more casual, made it more simple, a few mechanics and stuff. And of course, it's not as deep as Street Fighter. It's not as complex, it's not as tight as it is, but it's okay because we're not aiming for it to be played at Evo. So as long as people are having fun, and from what we've been testing, there are, couch fighting game, 5 minutes with your friend on the sofa, sword game and stuff. The objective is not to grind, watch YouTube videos, train, the frame data of the character. But we did our best for it to be tight and to be animations to be, well choreographed, have a nice rhythm and stuff, and we try to do our work well. But yeah, we are not like developers of actual big fighting games, so of course it's not going to be maybe as controlled on these points that they are. But I don't want to say that we did not control how we did. We sure did, and not still trying to adjust the frame data of characters and stuff.
That's music to my ears. I'm more of a casual person, so like everything. Oh my god, this sounds perfect.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of people were like, "Yeah, fighting games are too complex for us," and I felt it myself when I play a game like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Even though for example, I love Smash Bros, but I play games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I'm like, I feel like I don't control what I'm doing.
Because you're just.
Yeah, and even when I move my character, I feel like it's not moving how I want it to. And so we wanted to do something where you would control what you're doing from the get-go. You don't splash and, okay, you have to understand a little, you do a few round stuff, and now you're like, okay, I know how to play. I know how it works.
Yeah. So how important is that style of game, like the be able just to pick up and play simple button presses to just video games as a whole, like sitting down on a couch with somebody and playing a game like this? How important is that for you to make something like that?
Well, I feel like in a lot of fighting games in general, and that might be for performance reasons, now that I'm 3 years into making, you realize Clash is not optimized. I have a lot of loading times, actually. You choose your characters, and you choose the map, and loading time, introductions to a cutscene, you fight, loading time, second round, and then you fight, loading time, back to the menu stuff. And yeah, we tried to do a formula that we can do because there are less characters, less map and stuff. That just once you've loaded the game and you're in the main menu, you can just press play, and then you're on the arena, and you just choose a character, and that's it. You go, and then you press restart in 2 seconds, and that's it. You're in the next round. And we've seen people really chain rounds, from game to game, just continue playing because it's kind of addictive since it's fights last like for 2-3 minutes, and then I mean they can be longer depending on the players, but then you just do another one. It's fast, and it's really, really important for us. I think it works well. It ties well with the casual plug and play intentions that we have.
How long has been the most intense battle of Sclash, of like testing it? Like how long has it gone?
I'm not sure actually, because we usually play with best of 9, so like the first to 5, but you can put up to like 50 rounds if you want. But I'm not trying to recall where the duration. They're usually a few minutes.
Okay. Yeah, just it being like a one-hit kill kind of thing. Like I can just tell just how tense those battles will be.
36 hours.
36 hours.
One fight.
we actually put an achievement recently to like if you do a game that lasts for 20 minutes, then you're like, oh god, play long.
Wow,
Okay.
Cool. Do you have a campaign plan for Sclash, or is it just a straight up arcade fighter?
No, it was intended as an arcade fighter, but there's a campaign actually that we decided to add a little later because we felt like the game would like be like a little too small if there were a campaign, and players they wouldn't be able to enjoy much single player content because there would be just an AI and that's it. So yeah, I wanted to make a campaign. It turns out the game was we not originally thought up to make a solo mode for a fighting game, so that was quite a hassle. But yeah, we figured it out. It's more of a beat them up format. It's not just one fight and then another, like Street Fighter, for example, or in Soul Calibur. It's actually you move between areas, you fight in the middle of the way. It's some narration. We try to do something. I think it's fine. It's decent. With bonus mods you can play. Like should last 1 hour. That's the campaign we're aiming for, to discover the story of the characters, have some progression, have some tutorial too for the players. Because even if it's a game that's simple to understand, it's always good to have somewhere you can go back to. And,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how Mortal Kombat approaches their campaign nowadays. It very much feels like it's teaching you how to play the game for like multiplayer and whatnot.
Yeah. Unlike Smash Bros, for example, where the game doesn't tell you anything, and you just have to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite memory of this kind of game as a gamer yourself?
Yeah, really just playing on sofa, Smash Bros duels with friends, and just doing rounds and giving the controller to the other one, and sometimes you're like, let's do 2v2, and you play 2v2, and then you're like, yes, add objects, and very fun experience so far. And then we switched to another fighting game, and overall, very good moments. So.
Sweet.
Well, I have a very important question before we wrap up with you. Well, 2 questions. What is the Smash Brothers of choice? Which is your favorite game?
I'm basic bitch, but that's Ultimate. I think it's
okay.
I started with
great.
I actually started with Brawl.
Interesting.
I played so much of it. Like my brother, single player, or everything. I love this game. And then I play Wii U a lot. I loved it as well. And Ultimate is, I feel like it's just a culmination of all their knowledge in fighting games, Smash Bros. And it's really Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's my favorite. It's the most pleasant to play, the most characters and stuff. It's really cool.
So the second important question: who's your main?
I main Sheik, and I regret it.
Oh, why do you regret it?
Because Sheik is such. I love playing with Sheik. It's such a good feeling. It's really agile, it's fast. It feels so balanced. There's no bullshit move. It's just you and your skill. You see?
Yeah.
And the problem is the character sucks. Basically, it doesn't hit hard at all. So I switched to Palutena, like the third best character of the game. It's just stronger.
That's right. I thought I was basic because I used to main Mario, and now I just main Pikachu. Sometimes I get a little spicy. I'll main Banjo. But those are my 3.
You say those are basic. I'm Kirby and Samus. Are you kidding me? I think those are as basic as basic
that's
gets.
basic too. I gotta agree with that.
Jeez. Well, Bastien, it was lovely talking to you. Sclash, when can people play it? Where can people play it?
They can play on Steam. There's a free demo available to everyone. You can wishlist it as well. You can join our Discord if they want to talk with us or find opponents to play, because that's all online in the demo, but you can use Barsack or Remote Play it if you want to find people to play with. You can always come. There's a few people over there. And that's it, I think.
Cool. It's coming in 2023.
2023. That's for sure. 2023.
Cool.
Sweet.
Hell yeah. Well, everybody, thank you for listening or watching to this Mini Indie Showcase post-show content. If you don't know what the Mini Indie Showcase is, head on over to 61indie.com/showcase or youtube.com/61indie and give it a watch. We showed off 33 incredible looking indie games, including Sclash. And wishlist the games.
Thank you very
guys
much
me a
for
favor.
having me. It was really fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, of
I
course.
hope the
Our
event
pleasure.
goes well. Of course, it will go well. A pleasure to be part of it.
We'll say.
Thank you.
Farewell.